Welcome to SCIO Law Report, your source for the latest IP, brand, and business intelligence. I'm Sciarrino, founder and attorney of SCIO Law. Artificial intelligence is making it faster than ever to launch a brand. AI can generate business names, logos, slogans, advertising campaigns, and even replicate the voice and likeness of a company's spokesperson within seconds. That's exciting, but as AI accelerates the creation of new brands, the need to protect them becomes even more important. Because here's the question every entrepreneur should be asking. Just because AI created it, does that mean you could actually own it? Let's take a look. One of the biggest misconceptions is, if AI suggested the name, it must be available. Unfortunately, that's not how trademark law works. AI is incredibly effective at creating ideas for newly coined names and designs. Trademark law determines whether those names and designs can be protected brands. Imagine asking AI to generate a business name. You purchase the domain, build the website, print business cards, launch your advertising campaign. Only later do you discover another company is using a trademark that is confusingly similar to your business name. Now you're facing legal fees, rebranding costs, lost goodwill, and possibly rebuilding the brand you just created. That's almost always far more expensive than hiring a trademark attorney early on to conduct a clearance search before launching. A trademark clearance search involves much more than searching Google or checking if a domain name is available. Many businesses begin with what is called a knockout search, a preliminary review of obvious conflicts before spending additional time and money. If the proposed name survives that level of review, the next step is to proceed with a comprehensive search. That analysis evaluates federal registrations, state registrations, marketplace use, common law rights, and various other databases and considerations, including whether the mark is distinctive enough to serve as a source identifier. That's why expert legal advice is just as important today as it was before the advance of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is making it much easier for businesses to launch. As more businesses enter the marketplace, competition for distinctive brands increases. Your trademark isn't simply a filing. It's one of your company's most valuable business assets. There's also a major development coming out of Washington, which perfectly illustrates how quickly intellectual property law is evolving. The House recently introduced H.R. 8915, the No Fakes Act. If enacted, the legislation would create a new federal intellectual property right protecting an individual's voice and likeness from unauthorized AI-generated replicas. From an intellectual property law perspective, that's fascinating. We don't often see Congress establish an entirely new federal intellectual property right. Now, protection for a person's image, voice, and likeness are not entirely new. Many states already recognize what are commonly known as publicity rights. The challenge is those protections vary from state to state. Some states have comprehensive statutes. Others rely primarily on common law. Some recognize post-mortem rights. Others do not. The result is a patchwork of different rules across the country. H.R. 8915 seeks to change that. Rather than relying on different state laws, the bill would create a new federal property right governing unauthorized AI-generated replicas. That's one reason intellectual property lawyers are closely following this legislation. The bill defines a digital replica as a newly created, computer-generated, highly realistic, electronic representation of an individual's voice or likeness. In other words, realistic AI-generated versions of people, not photographs, not simply videos of individuals. Generally, the bill will not prevent you from creating AI versions of yourself. You also could still authorize other businesses or third parties to generate AI versions of yourself. Instead, the legislation is primarily aimed at preventing other people from distributing or creating AI replicas of you. Another fascinating aspect is that these rights would continue after death. The bill recognizes post-mortem rights, allowing designated heirs and successors to control qualifying replicas after a person's death under certain circumstances. So, is the bill likely to become law? No one can predict Congress with certainty. However, compared with many AI proposals, this legislation appears to have meaningful momentum. It enjoys bipartisan sponsorship. It has support from organizations representing actors, musicians, recording artists, and creators. It also has received support from several major technology and entertainment companies. That broad coalition doesn't guarantee passage, but it does suggest the proposal has a stronger path forward than many emerging technology bills. Whether this exact legislation passes, or whether Congress modifies, the broader trend is becoming increasingly clear. Artificial intelligence isn't simply changing how brands are created. It's beginning to change the framework of intellectual property law itself. Here are 5 helpful takeaways. Use AI for creativity, but don't rely on it for trademark clearance searches. Develop several possible names and begin with a preliminary knockout search to identify obvious conflicts. If your mark survives that review, proceed with a comprehensive trademark clearance search before investing in packaging, branding, marketing, and launch. Protect your trademark early. Continue monitoring as your brand grows. Artificial intelligence is changing how brands are created. It isn't changing the legal principles that determine whether those names or designs can become protected brands. Businesses that combine innovation with thoughtful trademark strategy will be in the strongest position to build valuable brands. Thank you for joining me for SCIO Law Report. I'm George Sciarrino with SCIO Law. Subscribe to SCIO Law Report for the latest IP, brand, and business intelligence. If you're developing a new brand or navigating the rapidly evolving legal issues involving AI, we'd be happy to help. Until next time, stay informed. Stay protected and keep building great brands.